Hello everyone, and welcome to another Book Reviews with Mr. Elrod. Now ladies and gentlemen, today I am super excited to talk to you about a book that I listened to recently. Probably one of the best historical narratives that I've read or listened to in a long time. So I'm really excited to talk to you about it today. I really enjoyed it. I hope that you'll enjoy it as well if you decide to pick it up from your local bookstore or your local library. So let's go ahead and get ready to talk about The Spy and the Traitor. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, again, today we're going to be talking about a book called The Spy and the Traitor. It is written by Ben Mcintyre, who works for the Times of London. So he works for a news publication and I guess writes historical narratives on the side. And so this is actually the second book by Ben Mcintyre that I've listened to. So the first one that I listened to is called Double Cross, and it was all about spy networks during World War II. And so, looking at the list of books that he's written, it seems that maybe this is a niche that Mr. Mcintyre enjoys writing about. Both of the books that I've listened to have been absolutely excellent in terms of the way that they're put together. I don't have the book itself, so in terms of the documents and the scholarship behind it, I'm just going to assume that it's been well done. Of course, it's all espionage, and so you're relying on information that's been declassified or sources that you're working with. And so either way, the book writing itself is really good. The story is really good. Based on what I listened to, it sounds like he did interviews or he sourced interviews from certain individuals within the story. And so I think I've mentioned it before, but if you have a mobile device, I think Zig Ziglar talks about the idea of automobile university. So making sure that you are making use of your time to learn new things. And so that's what I do on occasion when I have a chance. I haven't done one of these in a while, so you might say, Mr. Elrod, when's the last time you've read a book? I've actually been reading and listening to lots of books. I just don't necessarily always get around to making a review of them. I really felt strongly about this one because I thought it was so well done and I thought the story was great. So anyway, a little bit about the story. The story itself is about a spy during the Cold War who was working. He actually was in the Russian KGB, and he made his way up the hierarchy and actually ended up being the station chief of the KGB in England, or in London. And so it tells his whole background, his whole story, how he ended up flipping over to the English side, and of course, all the names that are used in there are pseudonyms, or not pseudonyms, but they're fake names and whatnot to try to protect the identity of the people. There's pictures of the guy. I mean, in the book, the spy, the name they use in the book is Oleg Gordievsky. Not great with Russian names, but either way. So there's pictures of the guy. I take pictures with the Queen and whatnot. So you have pictures of when he was working, when he was actually being surveilled, when he was in England. And one of the interesting things about the story, and this is also from the other book that I read, Double Cross, is like early on, and I don't know if it's the same today, but there's so many times when the different intelligence agencies almost seem inept. And so Gordievsky actually early on in his career tried to send a message kind of cryptically to the English that he wanted to flip sides and start working with them. And the English just totally missed it. There was another time. This is much later on in his career when he actually been working with MI6 for a number of years. That he was trying to. He was in Russia he had been called back, and so he was trying to indicate to them that he needed to be extradited. Exfiltration is what they call it. So to be exfiltrated, and apparently, according to the book, when he sent the message, the English didn't catch the message for a couple of different reasons, and so it's just incredible. It's a lot more so in Double Cross because it's World War II, and so the intelligence agencies aren't so much solidified in terms of how they operate and how they work. Obviously, during the Cold War, there's a tremendous amount of espionage, and so those things are becoming a little bit more uniform, and they're becoming a little bit more advanced in how they do their work. But either way, I mean, so the story itself is great. The tension that McIntyre builds into the story. I'm not going to tell you the ending of the story, but the exfiltration and trying to move him out, a number of times that it seems like he's going to get caught. I don't think that you could write a script any better than this one in particular. And so it was incredible. You really felt for the guy as he was going through the different things he was doing. He had to make some really tough decisions, especially as it came to his family. And so one of the things that inspires me about books like this is that I think about in my own situation, if I was in his shoes, or if I was in somebody else's shoes at any other point in history. When you look at people who have to make tough decisions, and people who make decisions that could affect them either with their life, or could affect their family, or could put them in harm's way financially or physically or whatever. They make some pretty tough decisions, and would I be able to and willing to make some tough decisions like that? And I hope that I would. But just reading about those really get to understand some of the things that people have had to go through. And so, I thought it was just a great story. McIntyre does a great job of writing. I don't know, maybe it was the way that it was narrated. The narrator did a really good job. And so, we talked about picking up mobile device and having that ready for you when you go on your drives, listening to books. And that's how I got this one. If you have the situation with your local library, you can get those books for free. And so your options may be kind of limited. But this one was available for me. I thought it was great. I would highly recommend that you read it. And so if you do, I hope that you enjoy it. So anyhow, thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed that. And as always, I hope to see you next time.